Thanks for watching. If you're enjoying, hit that subscribe button on the YouTube channel. Of course, rate us highly, please. Hit me up on Mike Wall 68 at Twitter or TikTok, Process to Perform on Instagram. Listen, playoffs are starting. Packers are out. And everyone, listen, I think the talk of the town is always about, there's coachings are getting fired right now. And there's 5 or 6 new opportunities. Everyone's kind of trying to find the next Sean McVay, the next Kyle Shanahan. And I wanted to go back and just take a look at San Francisco 49ers have been kind of the gold standard in creating offense. Kyle Shanahan is considered the best offensive guru, I think, in the National Football League right now. And what I wanted to look at is, obviously they have some great players at the skill positions, but what are they doing differently than everybody else? Are they blocking better? Are they just executing at a higher level? So I just want to take some tape from last week's game against the Arizona Cardinals, take the first half, just break down a couple plays and really take a look at what they're doing that is so much different or so much better than everybody else. Because a lot of people are in that Shanahan tree now, that McVay tree. Certainly the Packers run a variation of that offense. A lot of people run a variation of that offense, but no one's running it, I think, the way that they're running it. And it comes down to, obviously, simplicity and execution, simplicity in numbers, logic, but they have some guys that are just dudes at very, very key positions. Maybe most specifically as it pertains to their offense, George Kittle and Juszczyk, the fullback. Those guys are just doing things at a higher level than everybody else at their position right now, at least most guys in the league. I don't know if there's a combination of players when you think about all of their running backs, wide receivers, and then those two guys in particular that operate at the level that they do. Let's take a look. Let's just get right into it because it's fun to look at. I call it old school offense. And like everyone's going to say, well, Mike, it's not old school offense, but it is, man. They're running 12 personnel. They're running 21, 22 personnel. And they're just doing things that they're challenging the leverage on different defenses. If you're playing nickel, you're in trouble. If you play base, they can't keep up with their guys. Like they just have athletes at certain positions that make it impossible to be right all the time. The other thing is they're just doing things that make common sense. They have a third-string quarterback in there, Brock Purdy. They motion Juszczyk into the backfield here. This is just 12 personnel. They're going to send everybody to the right. And the reason they brought Juszczyk back in is to see what kind of defensive coverage they're going to have. We're really going to pick on that Will linebacker that's sitting on the 23-yard line. Everybody comes over here, and they're just going to focus on, okay, we got a one-on-one with that cornerback up top with Brandon Ayuk. And really, you think the throwing lane's open because they moved that one linebacker. They brought all these people over with the backfield motion, everything that's going on. And so all he's going to do is just turn around, and he really has options here. If he runs a stick, he can run a comeback. He can run a slant, a bang 8. Anything works right now because they have throwing lanes open, 3-step drop, easy for the offensive line to pick up, simple pitch and catch. And they end up getting, 6-7 yards. Take a look at the next play here. It's like 11 personnel. They go in motion with Deebo Samuel. And they're going in motion very simply. And look, the Niners, historically, the Green Bay Packers, San Francisco 49ers, I always think about them from when I was playing as really, really good screen teams. This team is an excellent screen team as well, obviously because of the people they have like Christian McCaffrey in the backfield, but also it's just smart. They send them in motion. They want to see what kind of coverage they're in. When 9 follows, they know they're in man coverage. And as soon as they figure that out, the offensive line can identify who's going to be manned up on Christian McCaffrey, go through the looks, right guard, make sure that he takes care of the man linebacker because, as everybody knows, that watches football, if they're in man coverage and you take care, that means everybody's back is turned, they're following their receiver. If you take care of that guy who's the linebacker or that safety who's man coverage on the running back, there is literally nobody else to make the play until you get all the way down to the safety. And when it's a guy like Christian McCaffrey, you see the convoy they have, offensive linemen downfield now, throwing key blocks. A guy like Christian McCaffrey is going to find the end zone. Fantastic play, fantastic blocking, fantastic system and scheme. So the Arizona Cardinals try to mask this. They start with a too high look. They go motion, come back here. Obviously, Brock Purdy knows that this is not a defense that they're going to be running. So these guys are just going to split out again. It's a covered 2 look. You can tell by, obviously, you've seen this on tape for the San Francisco 49ers. They're not going to stay aligned. They're going to split back out. They're just switching fields. This is how they do it when they go motion across the ball because that receiver came in motion across the ball. You see the outside leverage. So you're thinking cover two. You're thinking probably cover two over quarters, but you're thinking that's what the opportunity is here. They go split back out on the snap. And when you're running cover two defense, old Tampa 2, Mike linebacker's got to chase down the middle of the field in the seam. They've done a good job of taking Kittle out to the flat. So even though you have the cornerback in the flat here in cover two, you also take that linebacker away from the throwing window, open it up for the quick in at the 50-yard line. This isn't even a completed route. I just want to show you like the way the concepts, the things that they're running. Old school football, man, it just makes a ton of sense. This kid's playing really well because he knows exactly where to look, what to look for. Great job, pass protection. Trent Williams is one of the best in the business for a long time now. And you just look at the body bend compared to everybody else. All these other guys are fighting and doing a great job, but you just look at the body bend at this guy. I mean, some people are just built different. He's been doing it at a really high level, and how you get to confrontation explains the terms of confrontation, or dictates the terms of confrontation. And this guy's like 99% of the time in the right body position. So we've all seen these before. Kittle's hand in the ground. Juszczyk's moved outside of 97. And again, this play doesn't necessarily work. It's just a very, very smart way to think about football. This is a crack position. You look at Juszczyk right now. They're going to pick on 97. Juszczyk's going to fake like he's going to crack. And then it gives McGlinchey an absolutely easy block to widen this space. You just see this in real time. He fakes, gets 97's pads turned, and now Glitchy can just block out, and you have a huge hole. And everybody else has to still do their job. But usually, if you're thinking about what is the most difficult block to gain here, well, it's the edge block. And they just do an excellent job of scheming this up. Juszczyk can release here for 34. They have everything blocked up, and it's just a question now of can we get everybody to make the play. Arizona Cardinals do a good job on this play. I just like the way they run that system, that scheme. It just makes a ton of sense. These guys aren't perfect. You know, you talking about their offensive line. A lot of people say that the Niners have one of the best offensive lines in the league. Trent Williams is certainly one of the best players in the league. I don't know that you say that about the rest of their guys. They just have an incredible amount of talent at the skill positions. They have a very, very good scheme. Kyle Shanahan is just a master play caller. I think they're probably a well-coached line. You could say that, but, you know, even little things like this linebacker TE game with the linebacker, this is an easy pickup. See Trent turns early. You see the guard doesn't do a good job of pushing his across. They get picked. J.J. Watt gets in. They end up running him down for a sack. This happens to, you know, a lot of lines. This is not a difficult pickup for a lot of lines. And it's just because of the body position really on Trent on this. When you turn early, like you get into this position here, it's easy to get picked, right? So you're not staying square for long enough. Puts you in an awkward position to absorb that penetrator on the TE game or the linebacker TE game. This does happen, but these guys aren't perfect. So we got double tight. We got really a 3-by-1 look. You got Kittle up on the top. We're going to go Deebo Samuel in motion. Under center play action pass. And one thing to start noticing about this team is the speed of which they go in motion really forces people to adjust quickly. They don't give them time to communicate. Why does that matter? Because everybody's a little bit disoriented. So they went in motion. They had to shift. Now they go under center play action pass. They suck up. Now they're looking for people to get in. The linebackers are looking to get back into their zones. You see, Ayuk just is open in this window, and now Brock Purdy, who's been just playing excellent, doesn't want to throw him into this next guy. Throws a little bit behind him, makes the play. Safety can't get there in time. Really, this isn't just an execution play. So you motion across. You force these guys down. So 47-56 suck up. And now he's just making sure he doesn't throw into that window where 56 can make this play. Great job of getting the ball. I don't know why it's skipping here, guys. Great job of getting the ball a little bit behind him, not throwing him into that linebacker. Great pitch and catch. Execution is at a high level here. I love these plays. I love the way they're thinking about the speed of the motion. Just is disorientating for the defense. So you look here, you have a double hipped off position. Every team in the league's running this. This is just 12 personnel or 21, depending on if that's considered a fullback or a tight end on the left side of your screen circled. But they're just going to block everybody down. Bring the fullback across here. But they do it coming with motion. And so he looks like a lead back, but the speed of which it's happening, the linebackers cannot adjust in time. So now you see everybody's blocking down. You have the guard coming to 47. Kittle's up on 56. You have the wide receiver coming in on the safety 9. We have a very quick lead block on the defensive end. And we're going play side here, right downhill. And it's almost like a kick play, but they're actually just going to kick out with 81 instead of on the lead, instead of absorbing him and trying to run on the safety or the cornerback. They're just going to kick this play out. Again, this is a very, very simple play. This is just a lead play. You put the fullback in the backfield in I formation. This looks familiar to everybody, but because the Niners and because the Niners have done it, a lot of other teams are starting to put this guy in motion, 81 now, coming across with speed. It just hits a little bit differently. Linebackers don't know how to adjust for it. They put themselves in difficult positions, and they're able to get the double teams they wanted up to the second level. Look, same thing here. Now you've got, this is a play that we used to run. This is 97 power load. So you've got 2 tight ends in the game, 2 running backs. Everyone's going to block down on the left side. You're going to pull the guard. You're going to pull the fullback. This play doesn't go for a lot of yards. I just had to put it in here because this is old school. This is what we used to run 16 times a game, it felt like, back in Green Bay. But we're just blocking everybody down. Rise up to the linebackers. Kittle's actually going to lose on this block. He's going to whiff, and that's the reason this play doesn't go for more. But they put these guys in positions to do that because they are so good. You're going to have the fullback leading on the defensive end. The guard's supposed to pull around, block first man in the hole. This accounts for the safety in theory, but right here, just because we whiff on, I believe that's J.J. Watt, we don't get up to the second level. They end up making the play. Just love that they've brought it back, man. Not a lot of teams are running that kind of offense right now. So they motioned over into a slot look over here on the top of the screen. They go 2 by 2. Then they take McCaffrey and they run the wheel route. And they're just putting pressure on the slot linebacker here. If he goes out to the flat and takes away the bang it or the slant, then they're going to throw it to McCaffrey. If he jumps on McCaffrey, they're going to throw it to Ayuk. And the thing is, with these guys and the talent they have, and the reason they accumulated so much talent, guys like Deebo Samuel, guys like Christian McCaffrey, is this is a complete mismatch. If he gets the ball on the 21-yard line and he's got a 5-yard head start before this guy can get to him, these are just easy pickups for these guys. It seems like every time they catch the ball in the backfield, they go for at least 6-7 yards. George Kittle here's hipped off on the left. A lot of offenses now are doing this look, no motion, no nothing. They're doing this look all the time, and because there's so much you can do out of this when you have the tight end off the line of scrimmage. You can take him with the cross action backside. You can run the sweep to the play side. You can run a crack with 19 and pull him around. You can run inside zone, outside zone. You can literally run any play that you want. You actually have more access now than you did when the tight end was attached, and they're getting pretty good. A lot of these tight ends are getting pretty good of comboing with the tackle, being on different levels, which is a very, very difficult thing to do. So what I'm saying is it's very, very difficult for like Trent Williams right now, number 71, and Kittle, 85, to be able to seamlessly work a double team because they're on different levels. But if you practice it and you rep it and you rep it and you rep it, and you have a really good technical tight end, it's something that can get done at a pretty high level. On this play, they're bringing Christian McCaffrey over. George Kittle's also going cross action. And so you just see the dilemma that they put the linebackers in. You've got two of their biggest weapons running as hard as they can across your face, right to left from the defense's perspective. All your linemen are just blocking out. We got a double team on the backside, and it looks exactly like a simple cross action play, except you have Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle. And all of a sudden, the only people there to make plays are the safeties because the linebackers, and this 47 in particular, if you follow him, he goes over the other side of the ball before he figures out what's going wrong. The wide receiver is able to block him. 25 on safeties at the goal line. You're always going to take the running back. It's just too difficult to play to make. Great. Again, it's not overly complicated what they're doing, right? They're just running to where the numbers are. They're using a lot of smoke and mirrors because they have so many talented players at the running back position, at the wide receiver, and obviously the tight end fullback position. I love watching this offense. It's just because it allows you to execute at an extremely high level. I mean, you've seen so many 8 in the box, they're running 12 personnel, and it just allows you to execute because they're putting this almost feels like arena football. When you watch Juszczyk right here, they go in motion and they toss the ball, and it feels like arena football, like he's getting that head start. And so it just messes with the linebackers and the safeties. You see, I drew this blue line over on the left hip of the left guard, and you see all of these guys have run over here because Juszczyk's going this way, and they're going to give toss action. But toss action used to mean, like in the 90s, 2000s, toss action meant you were tossing the ball and they were running to the sideline. Not so much anymore. This is the big read here. The big read is 60 and 64 Brendel are going to double team the nose, and all they have to do is get up to this linebacker, and you can see that 60 is not really concerned about, keeping his outside arm free and going out there and reaching. They're concerned about taking care of the down lineman and moving that down lineman off the ball or turning his shoulders, because that's really going to be McCaffrey's read here. So all of the rest of it, you can see Boglinski on the backside has the cutoff. 74's got the linebacker, and the defensive end we don't even care about. But that toss action, along with the motion from Juszczyk, really affects these linebackers. They over pursue. He gets the ball, put your foot in the ground, cut it back, just saying, hey, you're not going to be able, the defensive end's not going to be able to make a tackle in a situation like that. Again, got a 7-8 yard play. And it just adds up over the course of the game. Now you got both of your guys, Juszczyk and Kittle, over here. One's hipped off. Juszczyk's outside of the tight end. They got a 12 personnel, excuse me. We're going to go motion. And now we're just doing a simple lead. With the cross action, again, it's almost like just an inside lead play. And from an offensive lineman's perspective, these are like free plays in the run game, which it's unheard of. If you really watch this from a lineman's perspective, everybody here is blocking down. Williams, I'm blocking to the left. It's essentially a down block, though, because you're going to be leading with Juszczyk and Kittle. So the right guard probably has, I guess, what we consider the most difficult job. He has to get up to the second level and block the linebacker, who's going to be fast flowing when he sees this, but he's to the left. He's the outside of the left tackle at the start of this play. So they go in motion. He's adjusting. He gets up skinny. He sees the handoff. The linebacker sees that pistol handoff, and the quarterback steps to the running back's taking the handoff to the left. So he hesitates. We get up, and you just see the lane that he has here to run through. Makes a great cut because he's a great player. Gets more yards on his own because he's a great athlete. But schematically, man, that's just a fun thing. But it doesn't work, and I guess this is the point. Kyle Shanahan runs great plays. This is obviously a well-coached football team. Their offensive line is doing things like this. They're not, nobody's driving anybody off the ball here, but they're doing exactly what they're supposed to do, not creating any creases for penetration. But this play doesn't work if you don't have a use check who's willing to butt this guy up and go to helmet. You don't. You have a guy who just loves contact like George Kittle here, who doesn't make a great turn here, to be fair, because McGlinchey does a good job of pushing this down. So the hole is actually expanding as he comes through. But he ends up finding contact with 47, making an adjustment, keeping him off. And then obviously McCaffrey does his thing. Got a 2-by-2 look. Cardinals are going to blitz here. And when they bring the linebacker, they have to drop the defensive end. And actually on this play, Brock Purdy could have hit McCaffrey down the seam for as many yards as he wanted. But he decides instead to pick on the cornerback up top. Let's look at the slot and the receiver up top on both sides of the 30-yard line. They're just going to run the slot receiver across the face on the inside leverage player. Inside leverage meaning the slot defender is on the inside hip of the receiver. He's going to run inside of him, forcing him to jump that slant, leaving a great throwing lane for the top receiver here against a corner who's playing 8 yards off. You got single safety look. But they could have had even a bigger play. It just shows you from a throwing lane standpoint. I mean, he's just got all day to make this throw as far as he's got tons of space, good routes. But you see McCaffrey down here, if you're looking at the 30-yard line just below the left hash, I mean, it's all you can eat as far as if they wanted to give him the ball right here. Safety has to make the play at the goal line. Simple play is the idea that you're just going to run a double slant over there. It's what everybody runs, but because they have so much else going on, they have so much window dressing. You're so concerned about it. Is Deebo Samuel going to get the ball? Is Christian McCaffrey going to get the ball? Is George Kittle going to get the ball? Is Juszczyk going to get the ball? Who's blocking? Do I have 2 guys coming at me? Do I have 3 guys coming at me? There's so much they have to worry about because of all the talent they have, the skill positions, that some of the basic stuff just works maybe better than it would for other people. And to be fair, these guys execute at a really high level at the skill positions. I'm talking about their routes, everything they do. Very, very smart and heady. We saw that on the zone play. So every team in the league runs the wide receiver screen. You have a trips look. Kittle is just right off the right tackle. The way that they run this, and everybody's probably taught to run it the same way. In fact, I've been in these meetings. You want to run up and press your guy and then bang out at a 90-degree angle, have a car accident essentially on the outside receiver. Okay, but these guys actually do it. And you just don't see the level of execution with every NFL football team that you see here. And that's what, to me, is so impressive. Up, and then just makes a hard right. And so now it gives Kittle, why is it important? Because Kittle's got to come out here and block the slot. And because he does that and makes that hard right, now Kittle's out. Receiver catches the ball, just has a direct path right through both blocks, inside out and outside in. Again, picks up 9 yards. Offensive line, hardest thing you got to do, scat protection. 5-on-5. Everyone's got to do their job. Let's start with Brendel, the center. Does a great job of punching and extending, has his feet underneath him. Blocks out. Everybody looks good. The toughest block here probably is the left guard on J.J. Watt. Doesn't do a great job with his feet, but does a great job with his hands, getting him extended. You see the throwing lane. Brock Purdy, who's, again, young quarterback, third-string quarterback, but just feels super confident. You can see what's happening over here with number 9 in the top left corner. Again, great play, great player. Next series, Deebo Samuel comes in motion. They're out of a 2-by-2 look. Kittle again, squared up position here, not in any kind of pass protection stance. He's in a squared off position. Interesting to note here that the defensive end is playing a 5 technique. They're inside. They're looking at like they're going to play safety over the top here of Kittle. And they hand the ball off to Deebo. And you just kind of like the wave that they have right here. It's just really impressive. They do a great job at the right guard position, right tackle position. of pushing them, especially the right tackle position, pushing off the line of scrimmage. Kittle's actually the one that gets pushed back a little bit here, but he ends up taking 2 guys on the top of this. We look at it one more time. Kittle takes 1 and then tries to finish off a second guy, and the first guy ends up making the play, but just great football. And listen, if you're this is pertinent if you're looking for a new coaching staff, if you're looking for a new offense. What are they doing that's so different than everybody else? Well, I think they're executing at a higher level, and then they have key positions that they're just making the most of. And a lot of people will talk about, and rightfully so, you're going to talk about Debo, you're going to talk about Christian McCaffrey, you're going to talk about Ayuk, and you should, because they're phenomenal players and they play at a high level. You could show some Christian McCaffrey routes that are incredible. Debo Samuel is just he's masterful when he has the ball. But the guys that make that offense go are George Kittle and Juszczyk. And the way that they are utilized, and not only them, but also you talk about 81 Tyler Kroft as well. The way that they're utilized, the way that they motion, the speed of their motions, every little detail that they take care of pre-snap that kind of influences the linebackers, influences the safeties, influences the defensive ends. It's very, very, I think it's very, very difficult week to week to prepare for something like that. It's almost like playing the option. When you remember I went to Naval Academy, you go to play Navy, you go to play Army back in the Air Force. It wasn't that the athletes were superior to like the other Division I teams. It's very difficult to prep for the speed of which they're going to execute that specific kind of offense in 1 week. And that's what I see when I watch these guys. I think they execute at a high level. I think the football IQ is really, really high. But you see the way that those guys influence their pace. They influence the pre-snap looks and just the physicality that those 2 guys in particular play with, man. It's really fun to watch. You could watch that kind of film all day. Kyle Shanahan has done something really special up there. You can see why everybody's trying to mimic it, but I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how much of that is because of those 2 guys specifically and what they're able to do, what they're willing to do in the run game. And then also all the other stuff that goes with it as far as scheme install and details of technique and et cetera. So hope you enjoyed it. Block party's fun. It'll be interesting to see how they do this weekend. This is going to be a fun playoff, kind of 2023 playoff session. I think, NFC's up for grabs. There's a lot of good teams, but this one's fun to watch. I think hopefully if these guys get to play the Philadelphia Eagles, we'll do a whole session on both those teams, because offensively what they do, I think on the Eagles side, is also masterful. Hope you enjoy it. Remember, hit me up, MikeWall68 on Twitter. Subscribe and rate this for me. And have a great week, guys.